Hello and welcome back to another tutorial series for VCV Rack 0.5. In this episode, let's take a look at the Hora Music Treasure Drum Bundle, which is another paid module. This one's £20 online, and there's a bundle deal for where you can get a bunch of other modules for I think 40. Yes, 40. All right, so this is the same setup we've seen before with an audio interface connected to a VCA, which is driven by a VCO hooked up, and the VCA is hooked up to an ADSR and a sequencer. So if you listen to this, just a simple pattern. But we'll be using this to explore the Hora Music Treasure modules. So this is all third-party modules as of this writing. And after you install the Treasure module series, if you get the bundle, you'll have all of these, but we'll be taking a look at the Treasure VCV, which is the drum bundle. So let's take a look at these. And we'll probably also be looking at the mixer, since that makes using these a lot easier, which is also from Hora Music. So I believe that's all of them. So we have the hi-hat, the cymbal, the rim shot, the hand clap, toms, snare drum, and bass drum. Hora also makes in the Treasure Music series, also makes a mixer. So 3 different mixers. We'll take a look at those real fast. So if I move them down, it's a huge mixer. Look at how big that is. Doesn't even fit on the screen. So this one is kind of designed almost intentionally. So these first two are actually designed intentionally to go towards the drum set that they also make. As you can see, this channel right here, this is basically a standard mixer that you'd find in any standard hardware mixer where you have a volume per column, a pan knob, on-off mute, as well as an input, and then a master out and a master volume. But as you can see, along the top, they've actually even labeled these to fit with their drum set. This version is almost identical in terms of this first section. It just has this other section right here, which lets you CV the pan, CV the level, and then do auxiliary sends. And then you have an effects volume. It's a kind of standard mixer stuff. And this huge one, and this one's also kind of labeled for drums too, by the way. This huge one is labeled 1 through 16. And then, interestingly, the 13 through 16 channels have left and right input, whereas all the rest have mono. You have the aux sends, and then you just have, it's basically the same as this, but 16 of them. So pretty standard mixer stuff. I'm not going to show these in detail since they're kind of obvious if you've played with audio equipment, which I assume you have since you're watching this. But we'll be using the small one since that's all we need. Let's move that up here so we can get everything on screen. All right, so let's rig all this stuff up. So we have an output. Let's take that to our bass drum. We have a snare drum output. We have a toms output. We have a clap output. This is hand clap and maracas. We have, which one is this? Rim shot. We have cymbals and cowbell. Everybody needs more cowbell. And here's the cowbell output right here, CB. And then the hi-hat. All right. So then you need to sequence this thing. Now you could sequence this with a sequence 3, but we might as well be fancy about it and use our brand new pulse matrix, because that seems to make sense. Why not? If If you don't know how to use the pulse matrix, refer to my previous tutorial that where I just covered it. It's not too bad, but it does go very nicely with Hora Music's drum set. So let's just randomize this thing. Let's just put these on forward so it's not all crazy. So these are just going to play sequentially forward in the forward direction. And let's hook up a clock to it. We'll do an LFO. So here's our clock. Square wave into the clock. Make that go. Turn up a pulse width. Turn on the run button. Okay, now we're sequencing. So now we're sequencing the pulse matrix according to these notes. And let's hook up each of these to different triggers. So here's our bass drum, and let's also hook up our left into our sound card so we can actually hear what's going on. And there's our bass drum. And these are I have not changed any of these knobs. These are freshly laid down instruments. Let's adjust the pattern a bit so it doesn't sound super crazy. I wonder if we should use the 16. That'll actually give us a little bit more room, huh? Randomize that, and then we'll just go out to here. And then we'll just delete this 8. And then we'll scroll over just a bit and try to get everything on the screen. Maybe we'll have to zoom out just a little bit. And there we go. Click run. And of course these are all going wacky. We can fix that in a second. I wish it didn't randomize all the things when you randomize something. Okay, now they're all on a line. We'll manually adjust our bass drum. Okay, that sounds reasonable. Let's look up the next thing, snare drum. And then toms. Let's see, where's the trigger on this one? So we have hi-hat, empty, I'll adjust the pitches later. All right, then we have maracas, sorry, clap. And then with cymbals. Oops, that's the accent button. And we, of course, ran out of stuff. So let's duplicate this thing. Might as well randomize again. And let's trigger this thing. There's an open hat and a closed hat. Let's run this. Hook up our clock. Put all this down here so it doesn't get super cluttered. This is obviously just a mixer, so you can of course mix the levels as you wish. All right, so we'll isolate and play with each of these a little bit. So here's our bass drum. We have a tune knob. Let's add an LFO so we can actually play with some of these inputs. So we can frequency modulate the tune, which makes it sound super goofy. We have a decay knob. We can frequency modulate the decay. Kind of harder to hear. Pitch decay. You can frequency modulate that thing. Also kind of hard to hear. A master level. Frequency modulate that. It's kind of just a VCA. And then we have some adding sine or adding, going to either from sine to square, looks like. And if it's square, then you can do pulse width. Let's turn up the volume a bit. We have a tone. And an accent, accent one. So let's rig up the accent to, we'll have to get our patch way over here to another row. So it's so we can have an input accent. So whenever this is high, so we could just make them all high if we wanted to. You can hear that. So it's reading this signal here. So I'll make the first 8. Oops. Oh, sorry, I was adjusting the wrong one, huh? Should have been adjusting the green one. So many wires. Look at those wires. It's going nuts. So I'll make the first 8 high. And you can hear it. High, high, or accented, accented. And then these ones are not. So it's kind of like louder. And this is the accent knob. So you could accent some of these in here. Because there's the row is right here, isn't it? All right, well, that's the bass drum. I don't think there's no right click that's interesting. There's also an accent for the snare drum, but let's listen to the snare drum. We have a tone. Can frequency modulate that. We want to be goofy. Decay. Frequency modulate the decay. Frequency modulate the pitch. Pitch decay. Frequency modulate, or sorry, voltage control the level. Similar to a VCA. You have noise. Noise decay. HP, and accent. For accent, you'd have to do something like this again. You can hear that some of them are accented according to the input. All right, that's the snare drum. Let's take a look at the conga. Now the conga has three different and high, medium, and low. So if we just listen to the low one, it's like this. Let's see which wire is that connected to. This one. Let's turn on more of the signal. And here's our medium coming in. And here's our high coming in. I'll turn down the other two so you can hear the high by itself. Let's see which one's the high coming in. Need to add some more highs. Alright, let's turn them all on. So that's conga mode. There's Tom's mode. That sounds pretty cool. Real bassy. Let's run an LFO to this thing. I'm not sure what this is doing. Kind of hard to hear it. I guess it's adjusting the pitch, like the tune. Pitch decay. Tone. Go to a square wave. Sounds pretty different. And you can accent, just like we saw before. So that's the toms and the conga. Sounds pretty good. There's the clap. Reverb. Length. I'm not sure what you're modulating. Is it the length of the reverb or both? It's not clear. Decay. Which one is controlling this guy? That one, Stand level control. See if a low pass filter. Let me just move this. Shuffle these so I can actually see it. You could do maracas or hand clap. Kind of similar. Accent as well. That's the clap sound. Here's your, move this back in the order. This is rimshot and clav. Decay knob, tune knob, modulator, swivel flows, level knob, accent knob. So kind of just useful for adding that extra when you got a bunch of stuff going on. That sounds pretty good. Of course, I'm not skilled. It's just sounds like a beat to me. All right, then we have cowbell and cymbals. Let's turn that on. Let's just do cowbell. Everyone needs more cowbell. So we have cowbell triggering right here. So you can adjust the volume of that guy. And then we can accent him. So this is a cymbal, so we need another line there for cymbals. So then we have tune. Character. I think that's spelled wrong. So you can get some kind of crazy effects with the cymbals there. And then we got a hi-hat, open and closed. There's our open hi-hat. Let's see, where's our close coming in from? Should be happening more often. I wonder if it has to, if it's only closing if it's open. Yeah, it sounds like it. They're like a pair. So there's hi-hat, metal. Whoa. Noise. That sounds kind of cool. I think this character's spelled wrong again. Unless that's supposed to be character. I don't know what that is. I think that's pretty much it. So you can make whatever pattern and sequence it any way you want, and you'll end up with a whole lot of wires, and you'll start to look like a professional modular synthesis dude, because you have wires all over the screen once you route all these modules up. All right, I think that's a good stopping point for the episode. Thanks for watching. See you next time.